On a cold April morning in 1865, the bells of Washington did not ring in victory. Instead, they tolled in silence. Across the Atlantic, diplomats whispered in disbelief. Across the American continent, people folded newspapers with trembling hands. The Union had not prevailed. The United States of America, an experiment once thought unstoppable, had lost its Civil War. What followed was not merely the defeat of an army, but the slow, astonishing unraveling of a nation that was supposed to define the modern world. The day the Union fell. The surrender at Appomattox never came. By early 1865, the Union Army was exhausted beyond repair. Years of industrial warfare had drained its manpower, its morale, and, most dangerously, its political will. The Confederacy, battered but unbroken, had survived long enough for the impossible to become plausible. European powers noticed. Britain, desperate for Southern cotton to fuel its mills, quietly reopened diplomatic channels with Richmond. France, already entangled in Mexico under Napoleon III, saw strategic advantage in a divided America. Recognition of the Confederate States of America, once unthinkable, became inevitable. When British and French fleets appeared in southern ports under the banner of neutral protection, the blockade collapsed. Cotton flowed again, Confederate coffers filled, and with that, the war's balance shifted. In November 1864, Abraham Lincoln lost re-election. War fatigue had consumed the Northern electorate. Cities mourned sons who never returned. Prices soared. Draft riots flared. Lincoln's opponent, George B. McClellan, ran on a platform of peace with honor. The message was simple. The Union could no longer afford endless war. Peace, however, demanded surrender. In March 1865, representatives of the United States and the Confederate States met in Halifax, Nova Scotia. The terms were brutal. Recognition of Southern independence, permanent division of the continent, disputed Western territories to be negotiated later. When the treaty was signed, the United States ceased to be a continental power. The world watched in shock. Two Americas, two destinies. The Confederate States of America emerged victorious, but victory carried a poison within it. Slavery was preserved, but at a terrifying cost. The South had won independence, not stability. Millions of enslaved people remained in bondage, now under a government whose entire legitimacy rested on their continued exploitation. International pressure mounted almost immediately. Britain, having secured cotton, began distancing itself. France withdrew after Mexico collapsed. The Confederacy found itself diplomatically isolated, recognized but distrusted. Meanwhile, the United States entered a period historians would later call the Long Humiliation. Without the South's agricultural output and without Western expansion secured, the Union's economy staggered. Immigration slowed. Industrial growth continued, but inward-looking and bitter. The myth of American inevitability shattered. No reconstruction followed because there was no victory to reconstruct. Instead, resentment festered. Veterans returned to northern cities not as heroes, but as reminders of failure. Memorials were built not to triumph, but to loss. Children learned a new national lesson: America could fail. That lesson would change everything. The shattered West. The West, once the promise of unity, became the battlefield of a new Cold War. Kansas, Missouri, New Mexico, and California turned into contested zones between North and South. Railroads were built not for commerce, but for control. Armed militias replaced settlers. Native American nations, already devastated, found themselves manipulated by both sides as proxy allies. California, isolated from the Union by Confederate-friendly territories, declared itself an independent republic in 1872. Gold kept it alive. The Pacific became America's last frontier, but not its salvation. Slavery's unraveling, slow and bloody. The Confederacy could not escape history. By the 1880s, slavery had become economically obsolete but politically untouchable. Planters resisted reform. Enslaved people resisted bondage. Rebellions erupted across Mississippi and South Carolina, brutally suppressed but impossible to erase. Unlike our timeline, emancipation did not arrive through law, it came through violence. A massive slave uprising in 1891, supported covertly by Union intelligence, plunged the Confederacy into civil war of its own. Plantations burned, cities fractured. White supremacy, once unified by victory, collapsed into fear. By 1900, slavery was officially abolished, not as a moral triumph, but as a concession to survival. The scars never healed. A different 20th century. Without a united America, the world tilted. Germany rose faster. Without American industrial intervention, World War I ended not in decisive victory, but in stalemate. The Treaty of Versailles never happened. Extremism spread differently. Fascism matured slower, but deeper. There was no American-led World War II. Europe burned longer. Japan dominated the Pacific unchecked. Pearl Harbor never occurred because the United States was no longer a global threat worth provoking. Democracy became a regional ideology, not a global one. The America that never led. By the mid-20th century, the United States existed, but as a secondary power, fragmented, cautious, haunted. The Confederacy, weakened by internal divisions and racial violence, slowly dissolved into semi-autonomous states by the 1950s. The dream of American leadership never materialized. No Marshall Plan, no moon landing, no Silicon Valley as we know it. The English language remained influential, but not dominant. History had chosen a quieter giant. The question that haunts us. In this world, school children still ask, what if the Union had won? Would freedom have come sooner? Would democracy have spread further? Would the 20th century have been less violent or more? History does not answer such questions kindly, but one truth becomes unavoidable. The American Civil War was not just about the fate of one nation, it was about the fate of the modern world. And in this timeline, the world never recovered.